Hey guys, welcome to your channel. A very good morning to all of you. I have picked up one or two important articles from today's Hindu newspaper. So let's see how we can cover those important articles from today's Hindu newspaper. So guys, in today's Hindu newspaper, I have found two important articles. One is Forest Right Act implementation issues arcs over Orissa, Mayurbhanj, and another article from opinion page is Humanize the Law. The purpose of the both the article is to discuss some concerns regarding recently drafted Indian Forest Act 2019. Before that, you should try to know what is Indian Forest Act 1927, what are the rights given to traditional dwellers under Forest Right Act 2006. This topic is very much hot this year. You will find one question in this year mains from this topic either directly or indirectly. So, what is the critical analysis or concerns of the draft of Indian Forest Act 2019? When we consider this act, we have to keep two things in view. That what are the two purposes we have to keep in front of you? One is conservation purpose, and another is forest right purpose. Means to what extent this recently drafted Indian Forest Act 2019 has been able to fulfill these two purposes of conservation and forest right. And another important thing here is uh, while we discuss these two acts, we have to equally find out to what extent this recently drafted Indian Forest Act 2019 will be able to reduce conflict, to incentivize travel, to stop diversion of non-forest non-forest uses of forest land, and how you will able to make proper public scrutiny on environmental issues. So while we analyze this forest right act in our answer, we have to keep this criteria, we have to keep these parameters in mind, and under each parameter we have to observe here, we have to examine the recently drafted forest act 2019. So I am going to point out some concerns which have come into loom from this act. Actually, this act, one accusation is that it is over bureaucratization. Over bureaucratization in what sense? Ki the machinery to protect the machinery under this act gives much more power to forest officials, and in this bureaucratic power will totally destroy the very purpose of conservation. For example, forest officers to get more immunity while using firearms to prevent offenses. There is a chance that it might be misused, or without any much more restriction, and without any particular obligations, giving much more power to forest officers in the name of preventing offenses. To use firearms is a matter of concern. But equally, it is also said that giving less power to forest officials actually decreases their power to reduce the crimes. So this is a very critical point. Whether more power has to be given to forest official while using firearms, or whether it should be reduced, or whether it should be controlled. These things you have to keep in mind. In that way, no prosecution unless inquiry. And while using firearms, if any doubt or if any accusation comes against the particular forest official, then until and unless an inquiry order has been passed by a magistrate, no prosecution has to be made against that forest official. It is against an archaic and much more bureaucratic law which gives unnecessary power to forest official, in my opinion, which is no way less than the powers given under Indian Forest Act 1927. It is much more a kind of colonial power actually. Right, in that way, in production forest, state cannot initiate any prosecution or sanction against the officers without proper inquiry. This Forest Right Act has given the proper has divided has made a distinction regarding production forest. I will tell you later what is production forest. And in case of production forest also, if any accusation comes against any officials, then state cannot prosecute initiate any sanction against the official without any an inquiry. In that way, we have seen that there is a much more over bureaucratization machinery in this forest official. You have to consider here, you have to analyze whether such unlimited power entrusted to the forest official will reduce reduce offenses, reduce forest crimes, or it will just merely destroy the conservation purposes of forest. Then we have stated what are the over bureaucratization process here, that forest officers to get more immunity using firearms to prevent offenses. No prosecution will be initiated against such official unless an inquiry by magistrate. In production forest, state cannot initiate any prosecution of sanction without inquiry of power, without inquiry. Right, and another important here is that under this act, any forest official and any police officer has been given power to arrest any person who brings doubt without any arrest warrant. This is very important. The fourth point, this act has given power to forest official or local police to arrest any person of suspicion of forest crime without any arrest warrant. And this is again very archaic law. It is no way less than the preventive detention law. And these provisions are no way similar to a democratic process. These are some colonial powers, right? So as a whole, what we have to write in answer, we have to keep two, three references in this way, and after that, what will be the effect of all this over bureaucratization process? It will, this policy, this forest policy, this policy will turn India's forest law into a kind of police law. So this is a matter of critical concern which we have to take into view. Another concern, another demerit that has been created by the recently drafted Indian Forest Act, that environmental parameter. That the act has given distinction, given definition about forest and community, right? And while giving definition of forest, till now the definition of forest has to be has abided the Supreme Court order in 1996. But this amendment, this recent amendment has taken away with the definition of Supreme Court order, a Supreme Court's definition regarding forest, and it has extended the definition of forest and community. But while doing this, it has neglected the environmental parameters to determine forest and to determine community, and it has only merely brings the necessity of administrative needs. So it is another a matter of critical concern here. And another thing is that exclusion of village forest. For prelims point of view, try to find out what is village forest. This definition has been given in Indian Forest Act since time immemorial, means since 1927. But recently this draft has excluded the definition of village forest. So what type of concerns it will create? And another thing is that how you have to also analyze that what are the impacts of this recently drafted bill on environmental impact as well as traditional forest dwellers. How this will impact the rights of traditional forest dwellers, whether it has sufficiently addressed the environmental forest impact issue, whether it has kept notices of the public scrutiny on environmental decisions. We have to keep these viewpoints here. From these points, we have to consider in the headline of concern or demerits. While coming to the merits, what we can say from this recently drafted bill, that it has increased definition of enhance the definition of forest and community, which is somehow good. It will try to cover more area under forest land. It is good. It has brought in another provision of production forest. And what is production forest? The aim of the production forest is to produce only those forest products which have economic value or which will be imported. In this way, it has says that this creation of production forest will reduce the import of India in case of timber. This is a good idea, that production forest, it has given economic value to the forest products. Then these are some merits, and we have already seen the demerits. Then what are the solutions? While writing answer, we have to give a balanced line also. As an administrative officer, it is your duty to find out solution. You can pick the solutions from the newspaper itself. So while giving solutions, what we have to provide, that how it will reduce conflicts, how this new egg reduce conflict. Conflict means in what sense? The conservation, one way conservation, and another way traditional rights of the forest dwellers. How it will try to minimize the conflict between conservation and rights. Incentivize travel. Stop diversion of non-forest uses of forest land. Public scrutiny on environmental impact assessment. So these are some solutions you have to provide. Then how the research act has to address these issues, and these are some solutions. Here in this article you will find the data. Actually you can put in information. Then as part of for state forest report act 2017, only 2.99% of India's geographical land is covered as dense forest. So in this way you have to try to find out the core of the article. Hey guys, another important article today's paper is Ganga has higher proportion of antibacterial agents as per study. This study is done by NWRI NIRI and commissioned by Union Water Resource Ministry. The article has a keyword that Ganga river water has unique microbial life. You might find question in exam that Ganga river water has unique microbial life. Examine. What we have to find out from the article is pathogenic species of bacteria. Means what is pathogenic species? This is important for prelims exam. Another the important point from the article and a core point of the article is the bacteriophage. What is bacteriophage? It is a kind of virus that kills bacteria. And in the presence of bacteriophages in Ganga river water is a very healthy sign of this aquatic river water system. So the core of the article is that how the presence of bacteriophages can change the aquatic health. Aquatic health. It is not only for Ganga river. We have to think out as an administrator whether the artificial spread of bacteria or whether artificial insemination of bacteria in other river water system can help in cleaning the water. Means the India which is abounds in water problem, where there is a very serious concern of healthy water, clean water. In that case, can bacteriophage be a solution for cleaning the water? It is a very important topic for you. And again, from another important topic is that what are the recent applications of bacteriophage in science? For example, it has been recently used for recombinant DNA technology and genetic research. You have to try to find out. Again, a healthy proportion of bacteria and bacteriophage can contribute to the aquatic health. Towards the end of the article, you will find the lysine gene antimicrobial property. This lysine gene this sample of bacteriophage has been collected, where it will be examined the presence of lysine gene. Lysine gene is a kind of amino acid, and it is also a therapeutic drug also. It has very good antimicrobial properties. So as a whole, you have to cover this article from these viewpoints. The core of the article is that bacteriophage and its contribution and its role in cleaning water. Whether India can use bacteriophage in other river system also to clean the water, and what are recent applications of bacteriophage.